wherever you are. Make it Truth Frequency Radio.
When you finally boil it all down, magic is imagination. We are moving into an age of manifestation. Things become actually less material, more ethereal. The golden dawn is when we awaken to this new station of life. What you think becomes real quicker. Regain our imagination, regain our inner child, and let that inner child out.
My name is Frank Castle, founding member of the music group Heist Click and New York City Neo Shaman. After a serious injury sidelined my career in 2013, I decided to set out on an adventure to search for myself with the help of the plant medicine ayahuasca. What I discovered waiting for me was something I could have never prepared for. It was time for me to become something more, someone more. It was time I became fearless. Shine as my heart beats in rhythm with space and time. When the light starts to shine inside your third eye, you awake to the knowledge that you never die.
What is up, everyone? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm back. Sorcerer Supreme. My voice is still missing a few notes. So please deal with me. My name is Frank Castle, and this is Fearless. And I've been away for 2 weeks, nursing a sore throat. I wasn't sick in the throat. I lost it from purging and purging and purging for 8 hours. 8 straight hours. And then when I begged the gods with the lowercase g's and the universe, please just let me die at this point, it started again. 8 more hours. I wear it as a badge of honor. I am no victim and see this as a good thing. But before I get into it any further, I'd like to say thanks to Chris and Cherie Gio. I love you guys very much. Without you guys, I would not be here doing this. Paul tonight could not make it. We've both been going back and forth with our energies. Does he have enough? Do you have enough to hang in there? And sometimes the answer is just no, and I have to go into the cocoon. When I turn around and say, I don't think I want to do the show tonight, everyone knows something's wrong. Even for the best of us, or who you consider the best of us, we have to take breaks for ourselves. Without it, we'll never make it. So I stand here and I bring forth to you a new guest host for the evening. Someone who has been stepping up to the plate, beyond stepping up to the plate, beyond stepping up to the plate, and one of my best friends. I'd like to welcome Shaman Jimmy to the show. Is he there? Is he there? All right, well, I'm sure he'll be back on any moment. What I'd like to say.
Hello?
Oh, there he goes.
There you go. Sorry about that. Good evening, everyone. Frank, thank you for having me tonight. You know, it's always a pleasure.
It is awesome to have you with us tonight, Jim.
Thank
How you been, brother?
Oh, man. I'm actually going through the same thing you're going through with the throat issue. For the past almost 2.5 weeks, it clears up, it comes back. I had someone help me out with some attachments actually on my throat during, I think it was Wednesday. And it's been nonstop. You know, it's not one thing, it's another. But here I am, you know. Got to stand tall through it all, you know. Take the good with the bad.
Absolutely. I'm going to tell a little bit of a story tonight that brings it exactly to that. While I was purging, it was the morning after, like 2 weeks ago, it was like on a Sunday. as I was going through this, I thought to myself, is there anything, because I was at a loss of even who I was. My fevers were so high and the hallucinations were so thick. I wondered if I'd ever break free of this. And I remembered I carry a sword. And I remember what the sword does. And I said, well, what's the worst thing that could happen? Because this nauseousness was so bad, I figured I'd kill everything in me. So I swallowed the sword, so to speak. And no jokes for those in the chat rooms. But when I did that, it burnt my throat really bad. And it was almost worth it because it made everything stop. But there was a risk involved, like everything else, apparently, which is for the same reason why when we clear each other, we take the opportunities to get something off your throat or off your neck or out of the side or your hip or your foot or your ankle. You don't just blast it off because you could actually be doing damage to the person themselves. But we are passing through a layer that is relentless, thick, with parasitic entities, leeches, spiders, just thick density for those of you that see it just as a hard time. So the removal process of this stuff is pretty intense, wouldn't you say, Jim?
Oh, absolutely. Because as you remove something, there's something else behind it. You know, it's like if it's not in daytime, it's in dream time. You know, so it's like it's nonstop now. Before it was occasional, or it depends what you were doing. You know, now it's like they're trying harder. You know,
they are putting their all in, and acknowledgement like this, we all look for the times where we're like, yo, what are the clues? What are the clues to the event? What are the clues to the shift? What are the clues to end times or the rapture or the ascension? Where are the clues? Right? Nothing's happening. The more things change, the more they stay the same. But when the attacks become so thick and the density and the frequency becomes so thick, it's more synchronous. It's more synchronistic, I would say, to us shaman. We see it coming. We go, oh, this is the point of no return. This is the point of piercing the final layer where the enemy, let's say if you were throwing a punch, you knocked him to the floor, or if it was a knife fight and you stabbed him and he dropped to the floor and he was injured, and he pulls a knife. He's the most deadly at this moment and makes all his attacks for his life. So they don't let up, and you say, well, where's the compassion? And they go, we don't have compassion. We're programmed not to have compassion. For if I had compassion and I backed off, it'd be an easier way for you to get your job done. Does that resonate with you?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, because you think about the things that are doing now. They started spraying heavily again. And just these past 2 weeks, you know, the infestation in 4D between leeches, snakes, octopuses, bugs, you know, and, you know, you see this in the sky, but energetically you see it, I mean, at another level where it's everywhere. And these things are designed to bring your frequency down, you know, so it makes it very difficult for you to feel, you know, to thrive
and go through your own.
Yes.
Because this, all right, we're not just going to place blame on the AI through the devil and the parasites. They are all one thing within themselves. But while that is going on and all that pressure is being applied with distractions and disorientation and work and everything else that's going on, you still have your stuff to clean.
Oh,
like your personal stuff, like mommy and daddy issues, or the kid's not, you know, it can't read yet and he's 7 and it's becoming difficult now. This one's not listening. This thing isn't out of control. This is out of control. And this is, you see, it just keeps whipping out of control. Someone in the chat room asked, why has it got to be so hard? Why is this so hard? It is not easy. this is probably the furthest thing from easy. But it should be distinct now. You should see the clownisms in the media. Since I've been sick, Jim, there have been phony pipe bomb scares. There's been shootings again, more distractions, more terrible. But it's been comical in that, not that it's funny that it's happening because people are getting hurt and dying, and that sucks. But it's becoming like you can see the pattern of these characters. Every time something goes on, something else emerges, shooting, distraction, all while numbers like November 1st, 11118, those are upgrade days, upgrade cycles for us, but to them it's hyper distraction days. Ooh, look what this guy said, and this guy said this, and this guy said that, and what do you think about that? Right? And then before you get that thought out of what you even think about it, it's on to the next distraction. And you're already through, and the bombardment of the upgrades doesn't end. And then parasites and everything else that go along with it. So why is it so hard, Jim?
Well, if they're making it difficult, it's because they're at their last thread. You know what I mean? They're throwing everything they can and what they can. You know, I was talking to Hanuman earlier this week, and he was frustrated, along with SecMed and ISIS, and they're like, you know, this is like, it was like a dirty bomb kind of thing, that even though it's creating havoc, but it's slowing things down. They know they can't stop it, but they're going to slow it down as much as they can, you know.
Right. It's like the spiders put up a bunch of webs, and then someone made a Jello mold and then dumped it in on us, all while the parasites like were planted and then hatched egglings and then all came out at once. So it was like, whoa, all in your upgrade moment.
Exactly, because this thing interferes with everything. I mean, almost, 3 weeks ago, I saw the early stages of this, and I didn't understand, you know, why they were showing me this. Then Wednesday, I went in, and this stuff is everywhere. And Hanuman and I are just like, you know, this is like, it's like, it's beyond, how can I put this? It's just a lot to clean up, and there's not enough manpower to do it. It's getting done. It's been contained and it's cleaning up, but it's just a pain in the ass.
Okay,
literally, because
I'm sorry, I don't mean to interrupt, but I mean to interject because I want people to learn this. As you're saying this, there's not enough people to clean up. Well, what are we actually cleaning up, Jim? Outside of the parasites and stuff, like that's a pile-on. It's like gang pile. Reptilians are a pile-on, AI pile-on, and tentacles, octopuses. But the real problem is nobody is taking responsibility for their own stuff. And we're caught in that rut while this is going on less. And then it becomes more than any one thing can handle. It becomes a lost cause because you haven't been cleaning up your own home, your own room. If everyone took the responsibility of cleaning up their universe, and you say, well, that's a lot, it's a universe. I'm like, you are the universe. So the answer is you. So if you cleaned up you, then some of this stuff, think about if we had to dig you out of Jello or quicksand or something, and then we threw parasites and snakes and everything in there on top of you. But you're like, dude, I can't get out of this. I'm sinking. And I'm like, well, what's keeping you in there? And you're like, I don't know. And you look in there and your house is dirty and you're dirty and you're not eating right and you're smoking cigarettes and you're messing around with the wrong people and you're having unprotected sex. I know that sounds funny to people, but that's true, right? Like you don't, your head's not quite in it, but you kind of think it is. But nah, I'm too busy with other stuff. That's what's keeping you in that. So if you clean that area up, when the snakes go in and the parasites land on you, we could clear it out. Anyone can come in and help, and we could just easily maneuver. But the problem is our houses aren't clean. and I speak for all of us in the human race, from the top to the bottom, we all have stuff we could work on, making it an impossible mission. But yet it becomes possible because as the creators, we can push through this. Because how can you contain consciousness? There's no real way to do that. You could trick it, play a game with it, but it will only last so long. So there's a lack of self-responsibility during this moment specifically, where those need to step up to the plate to clean and clear their own sacred space, their own home, their own temple, their body, their living room, bathroom, kitchen, car, workspace at work, mind. Clean out inside, reflects outside good. If you keep looking for it reflecting on the outside, you're just not going to see nothing.
Well, not to mention, you also, once you're vibrating higher, these things can't stick around too long. You know what I mean? It's impossible.
But how could you vibrate higher if you don't even know what that means? No, I'm just saying, like, we got to educate them a little.
Yeah. Well,
I feel we preach to the choir for the Fearless family and everything. Shout outs to everybody. But no, there's a lot of new people, and we have to let you know, like, it's time to clean house.
No,
right?
exactly.
Change starts with you.
Exactly.
Right? Like, people want to clear the world. I want to help change the world. I want to feed Africa. I'm like, you got a homeless guy in your corner.
Yeah.
Start small.
No, yeah, be the change that you want in this world. That'll create a ripple effect around you. Grudges, resentments, things that are holding you down, remove them. Like you said, your eating habits, your thought patterns, create new you can call them daily practices, affirmations, mantras, the things that you listen to, the things that you watch on TV, all these things impact your vibrational state.
Yeah. Well, we're living in a world right now where everybody wants to out-victimize the next person. I'm more of a victim than you. No. Blacks are more than a victim than Jews. Jews are more of a victim than Chinese. And Chinese, it's like, dude, enough. All of you. Stop trying to be the most of the victim and start becoming the hero. You're not going to get any, just because money's thrown at you for a victimization cause doesn't mean you should do it. It just means you might be just choking the chicken of the system. You might just be adding to the pressure of that system. And then if you go, well, if it's good for them, it's good for me. Maybe it's not. Maybe you should stop being a bitch. Maybe you should stop being that way. Maybe you should get up off your knees and not cry like a baby every day. Yeah, we all do it. We all cry like a baby. But get up and say, okay, all right, we got to do this together.
No, I agree with you on that.
I mean, it comes down to the ropes, right? We talk about timelines, blending, this, that, and the other thing. Check it out. Once again, my take on the timelines. Yes, we're going to have time. We have timelines collapsing and new ones coming out and really crappy ones trying to creep in. When we get to this point, the next thing that's going to happen is an ET contact, whether it's a distraction and fake, like the false alien invasion, or the real guys. Both could happen at the same time and all levels in between. So we better start acting like a family pretty quickly.
No, it's funny because you see sightings more often now. There's a gentleman I follow on Facebook. His name is Robert Nunez. And he gets sightings. I mean, he posts like 5 to 10 sightings a day, different ones. And you can't tell me they're all Photoshop. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I got a good one for you. If 1% of all of them were real, just 1%.
Correct.
Dude, you're in for a wild ride, guys. Just one. It doesn't matter if it's the U.S. that's doing it, or Russia, or China. It don't matter. It's there. Right? Like, this is the next step. Where do you stand? Together or as a victim? This victimization thing where you hurt my feelings. And if I draw a picture of a human being on a piece of paper and I say, show me where it hurt you because you look like a woman, and I said, excuse me, ma'am, let me hold the door for you. And you did you assume my gender? Where did it hurt you on here that I made the mistake? Okay, you're just self-victimizing over and over and over and over and over. And it's pushing an agenda at this point. It's like you want me to drink from the tit of whatever bullshit you're pushing, and we're done with it. I don't have to. See, that's the whole thing. Like, all right, here's the timeline collapse in my estimation. You have November 11th, and you have voting and all kinds of weird stuff going on. You're voting for a machine, by the machine, put forth by the machine, for the people in the machine to be in the matrix, on and on and on. Now you have this caravan coming. Now, I'm looking at a news feed on my Facebook, and I see some people with babies, holding babies and stuff, and then I see them throwing rocks and starting fires. All right, so regardless, someone's funding this, sending people up towards a border where there's going to be a confrontation at one point. Okay, movies have talked about this and showed this before. You don't want to be the guy in that front line that pulls the trigger or the guy that throws the first rock while dudes are pointing guns at you. If you pray, now's the time you pray for your best solution for people to just walk away. If you want to see the end of the world and you're one of those people, I feel terrible for you. I understand system destruction. But you don't want loss of life on your hands. You don't want Atlantis to return and make the same mistake again. You really want a bomb to go off? You want Mad Max? You're working right towards it. You want techno organic kind of thing where the Terminator shows up? Because you're right there. Or do you want some Jedi stuff where you get you back and you don't need tech to do it? You're right there. There's your timelines. Right? So the people show up. We either run towards each other and disperse at the border. One side shoots at the other and creates a huge mass. Well, they shot first or they shot first. And then you have civil war. You could see it pushing back California and Texas, wanting to secede. Notice they'll go up through California because they could get away with it if they could make it that far. You guys really want to open your door to that? Because you know it's rapists, it's men, it's mostly men. It's mostly men. Don't lie. Stop lying to yourself because you saw a few pictures on Facebook. It's men that are ready to come up in here and cause havoc, and they're promised $5,000 a piece, and they're going to get nothing when they get here. See the bigger picture. It's a distraction beyond distractions. And if you keep going, whoa, and feeding that fear, there's going to be a fire. But if you start anchoring down and clearing out yourself and sending loving energy and saying, this is ridiculous. I can't get involved with the psychoness of being involved with this drama that's playing out. But man, I don't want anyone to get hurt. Right? Even the send prayers has been corrupted, Jim, right? On Facebook. Send prayers. Like prayers really help, they say. Well, you and I know meditation helps. The FearLess family knows meditation helps. The Beyond the Veil community knows it helps. We've all done it. So there's been a corruption of this whole thing, and you have to not dive into that. You have to kind of, like Chris Gio says this, and I agree with him wholeheartedly, it's balance. It's up the middle. It's not right or left, but if something steps in front of you and is like corrupting you, you can strike it down and move. You can avoid the obstacle. You have a much better way of seeing things from the higher vibrational frequencies. If you run around like a dog and a cat, you're going to act like a dog and a cat would, right? But if you come in like the bird, you could land on the branch above. You can see all this. A better vision, better view, and understand the distractions and where they're set up and how they're set up and why they're set up that way and why the dog's now acting that way and how they knew the cat would react that way and they're set up for that. But they're not set up for the free bird. Yeah, you don't have to strike everything down. Just get rid of that which no longer suits you. We're our own enemies across the board. But with great power comes great responsibility. You want to keep wondering why everyone is a king and a queen and a god and a goddess and all this other stuff because of your consciousness. It's you. Start acting like it. Yes, everyone gets to do this. Why? Because it's us. We're the creators. And we're all here. So a whole bunch of us here. Why wouldn't you start acting it? You can shift the whole thing. You know, Jim and I put in so much work, and we're kind of at this weird stalemate. You know, we want to help, but stuff we're doing isn't helping because you're not helping you. And it's reflective all the way up the path. 9 out of 10 don't want to do it. You don't have to. That's fine. Then don't complain, though. When you have to eat the big bowl of, you know, poop container, that's for you. That's not for me. Because I'm not going to eat it. You are. All right, we only got like 40 seconds left. I want to tell everybody, check out IamWeAreFearless.com. There's a new site design. Shout outs to my man Sergio Garcia for hooking this up, my partner in this. All great new designs. A bunch of new designers. Come check out Holly's designs. She's got amazing work on there. Naturally, Nick Zervos and
I'm running down the sands of time. Another drink of ayahuasca just to free my mind. I hope to find another day what I've lost before. I'm trying to find my second thing so I can live some more. Don't try to tell me how it is or what can't be done.
Real people, real radio.
Initiating the truth frequency.
This is Truth Frequency Radio.
Am I awake or is this a dream? It's a dream. It's a dream. A fantasy of where I'd rather be. So come and talk with me. Come and walk with me. Is this a wake-up call from my reality? Have you seen my friends? Have you seen my girl? Wake me up from this. I'm trapped in this world.
Yeah. What is up? It's your man Frank Castle. Perception stuff. You're gonna love this. All right. Before we get back, I want to ask the FearLess family if you guys could send out some of that good energy to Hollywood. I have a connection in Hollywood. Her name is Christy. Christy's also a shaman. She's a female shaman, and she's really awesome. She's very connected, but they're going through as much stuff as we went through here with dealing with Washington, D.C. during what we were doing during meditations. We were kind of closing portals and shutting rituals down. Well, it got really dark there. And remember, that caravan to nightmare is heading up towards California, Texas, and all that. So let's send some extra energy their way. And let's help the women in the area to rise into their positions, because that is oh so important. Before we get back with Shaman Jim, I just want to say, during that purge, oh my, it sounds like there's a hissing coming through over the air. I don't know if that's coming through on my side or Jim's side. But
That's your side.
is it?
It sounds like water running.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
All right. So I'm not quite sure how to handle that one. But all right. So I noticed myself in a pain loop, in a cycle of some kind that I couldn't get out of. I don't know why that is. My body kept shutting down as I was purging and shutting down, finding myself weak in a state of distress with 102 fever, naturally hallucinating. I began to see the doctor that I wanted to go to. It was my old doctor that I went through to my entire life. I was begging for help. And this was all within my mind's eye. And I kept thinking antibiotics, antibiotics, antibiotics. And then I saw these men standing in front of me going, yeah, you should go to the doctor. And a tongue flickered out. And I was like, oh, doctor, thank you, thank you. And I looked up, and it was a snake man. And the snake was desperately trying to get my attention to go towards the doctor. So I'd look back, I'd see the doctor, and then I see the snake man. Now my body's shaking, shivering, and I'm throwing up all at the same time. And I'm freaking out. And I'm going, no, 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 no. I don't need that. I don't need that. I don't need that. And then I see the doctor, and the doctor's like, no, no, come to me. We'll give you penicillin. Trust me. We'll give you penicillin. Trust me. And then his tongue flickers. And I said, oh, no, I can't go anywhere. And I laid in that pain cycle. Towards the end of the pain cycle, and the end of the second day, I was trying to take a shower. Sherman came into the house. Sherman is my orange cat. We call him the Orange Mist. During the time he entered the room, I started hallucinating at Sherman, going, oh, I love you. I love you. Oh, thank God you're here. The lowercase G. I love you that you're here with me. And those that I've heard the stories of me going under with my animals, the animal cracks open and the true identity of the animal comes forward. Well, just as Sherman cracked open, these beings of light grabbed me. They were pulling me into the shower. They were like walking me down this hallway, but I was getting into the shower, and I was hallucinating really bad. My fever was terrible, and I was shaking, but I wasn't throwing up anymore. And I started saying, oh, why are you guys here? And they were grabbing me, and they were taking me down the hall. I get into a room, and as I'm getting into the room, I hear, it sounds like the Tasmanian devil is down the hallway. And I'm like, what is that? I think that's for me. And then I hear beings screaming for their lives, like terribly. So they go, look, your cat Sherman's got to go. And I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. You're actually dragging me into a conference room to talk to me with light beings about my cat Sherman. So they're like, dude, he's got to go right now. So I go, you're kind of worked up. I don't know. Open the door. We'll get Sherman and bring him in. They were like, no. And boom, the door comes open. And instead of Sherman coming in, it was this giant, monstrous golden dragon with no wings that had Sherman's little feet, but everything else on it was it was ridiculous looking. And it started tearing things up in the front of the room. And they were like, dude, he's got to go now. So I said, no, we don't do that around here. We don't just get rid of animals and whatever because they have some problems. I go, right, Sherm? And he shrinks back to the cat, walks up to me, loves me up, hugs me, rubs me, kisses me, licks me. And then this being goes, okay, get rid of him. He looks at that being, looks at me, and I go get him. And he morphed into this dragon, and it wasn't cool. It was frightening. And it tore all of these beings up while I decided to just turn and leave. So one of the things I was reminded of is, hey, listen, your animals do a lot more than what you think. I know you're hallucinating, Frank. I know you're feeling this, but look at what he does. He's always out guarding the perimeter. He's a cranky little bitch, and he runs around. He does all these things, but he keeps the place fresh and clean. There is nothing here that works out of line. It's like a well-oiled machine of nature because of what the animals do. My other cat, Buddy, was a wolf-headed dragon. And I started beginning to say, is this a program? Because some people think they're programs. All right, now I'm done with talking about all of this stuff since I've been gone. Jimmy, I want to bring you back to it now because I know you have the love with the animals. How do you feel about the animals being artificial intelligence, or rather the organic consciousness that works directly alongside you?
Well, I tell you from my experience with my cat Toby and my cat Vinny. Vinny, this past Wednesday, he was with me in my experience, and he was transmuting shit. So, and at first I was like, no, get the cat out of here because things are getting a little crazy. And they're like, no, he's there. And if you pay attention, it wasn't to the extreme of the things that I could do, but he was helping, you know. But prior to Wednesday, maybe about 2 to 3 weeks ago, they gave him a job. Okay, they gave him a job that he needs to warn me when there's things around. And as they were giving me these instructions, he was meowing a certain way. And I could hear him all the way from my son's room. And then, like, this is what he's going to sound like when there's something that shouldn't be here, like, really close. And so they're having this conversation. I'm having this conversation with my guys who are the Lyrans. And as they're giving me the instructions, I can hear my cat meowing in the other room, kind of like confirming, yes, that's right, kind of thing. And it was pretty cool. I'm like, all right. And then this Wednesday, I got to see him in action. You know, he's in my experience. He's laying next to me, but his consciousness is, you know, running around transmuting shit. And I'm like, this is awesome. Not to mention, on the same day, they try to bring my other cat, my old cat Toby, and they're like, okay, we're going to adjust the frequency so he can come over. And as they're doing this, I'm feeling the shift, and I'm like, but it's just a cat. He's like, no, he's not just a cat. He's like this. He's a beast. He's like this huge tiger lion, you know, feline being that needs to come over. But because everything else that was going on, it was dragging the frequency down, and they couldn't, you know. So, to what extent it's a program, I don't know. I think it's organic. I know my cat Toby and Vinny, we've been together many lifetimes. In this lifetime, I reunited with Toby again through Melissa, my girlfriend. She had him. But during some of the experiences, they showed me past life. He's been there with me. You know, he's been with me nearly all my life. So I know that we carry a team of, you know, spirit animals, per se, that are here to assist us. Some people, you know, are better with birds, cats, dogs, and so on. But yeah, they definitely, you know, put some work in as well. They take hits for us on the regular.
Indeed, they do. And they work directly alongside us to do so much for us that, you know, we take for granted. Like Paulo will say this: you get a dog, and then the dog barks when someone comes to the door, and they go, "Shut up, dog! Stop barking!" And I'm like, "No, you're supposed to be like, all right, good dog. You're supposed to alert me to that stuff, right?" So that's that's happening in layer after layer after layer. Even at sometimes you find out the animal is you, a piece of you, right? So if you're from outside and your consciousness is split and you're like, hey, Frank needs some love, like badly. Frank gets a dog. The dog's soul is Frankie. A piece of it is in there controlling it to help teach me how to love or be loved or accept love. Right? It's really weird when you see it from the higher vantage points. And it's even more interesting now that we're at the precipice of the next big jump. When if the 5D frequency or the next round of stuff or the next level inside the system or whatever you want to call it, it's going to be visible what this really is. Like the masks come off. You know, so it's pretty interesting watching as a shaman. I have all the animals come to me. I have to go outside every morning. It's a must. And I have to greet everyone. I have to greet the squirrels. Then the squirrels come out. But it's weird. And then I greet the skunks. The skunks come out. I feed everyone from cats. And I don't feed any dogs, but you hear them barking and I greet them. I feed all the birds. I have possums. So I'm going through this and I'm not allowed to forget anyone. And it's like telling the universe, hey, I'm ready for this. And then they're there as I greet them. Almost like actors in a play taking the stage right on time. So it's interesting watching this work. I've grown symbiotic with the environment. I wouldn't go stick my head in a lion's mouth, but, you know, I have a feeling on the other end it's going to be pretty interesting. One of the things when I was under my $5,000 experience, I was telling Paula, I'm like, yo, I think we had lions. I don't know what it is. Like, I think they were like, I think we all kinds of animals, but in my household, back somewhere, there were lions. And I'm like, I want my lions back. Like, I have a feeling they're in the cats and they're in the dog and the bird and making the comeback. Because when humans and animals get along, I can see the symbiotic relationship. Lots of my past lives with Squeak, my cat that passed, was a giant puma. In many lifetimes, he was this big puma. And he would hang out with me. And he was deadly and dangerous and never did anything to me. But this was so far back, I would say, when is this? Right? When did that happen? And they said, that's past. That's gone. That's way, 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 way in the back. You guys have never not been here. It's hard to show someone that and explain that to someone and then say, well, these beings have been there the whole time. I saw my animals that I have now at different points were in my life, and I didn't know it was them or didn't give a crap. And like, when I was a younger kid, I didn't really have a dog too often. And when we did, it was like the house dog. My dad kind of jerk. He was taking care of them and then really didn't do a good job. Then one dog got hit by a car and died. One dog went this way. And meanwhile, it's like Squeak the cat. It's his energy in those animals, and I was oblivious to it. So they just keep coming back to you. So it makes you wonder, like, hey, what's going on here? But there's something so beautiful in it as well, right? Like, if dragons are real and they're of the old and they're coming back, the only way they could be in here right now is to be in part of the 2D environment, be one of the animals, to work along with you to show you the energies again, for you to upgrade so far that you look over and see that it's them, and then help them rise back out of that. Very interesting concepts. What do you think?
I agree with you with that. It makes you appreciate them a whole lot more as well. When you get to see them for who they truly are. And, can you hear me there?
No, it's actually real. It's actually worse than before. This is what I'd like you to do. Hang up. I'll call you right back.
Okay.
We'll get you right back in the last 10 minutes. But you're going to have to click out. I can't do it from here. Nope, the sound's still coming from me. So I'm not quite sure what happened when we came back from the break. And I can't really disconnect from the show like that and come back in. I don't think that would be right. So let's get Jim back on the line. And so during these times, meditation is key as well. Make sure you upgrade. Take the time for yourself. Take a few minutes to breathe it out. Relax yourself. Time yourself. Give you those extra moments, right? And then give a little extra love to those little fuzzy buddies that we have. Hey, Jim, you back with us?
I believe so.
There you go. It's a little better. It's still a little muffled, but it's way better than it was before you went out.
Okay. My apologies for that. Because the reception here is like on and off.
It's all right. We'll get you a big microphone and a Wi-Fi transmitter for Christmas. So let me ask you something. What has it been like going under the last few weeks of this crazy turmoil and energies?
Well, it's been crazy. It's been more of being on the defensive than it has been of learning. What I mean by that is, it's one encounter after another, and cleaning stuff up, removing things, transmuting things. We found, Hanuman and I found the mothers of the slaves. We traced it to a location, transmuted, got rid of it. The next day, I'm getting, harassed by reptilians. Talk about, we're watching you, and I'm like, good, don't watch me, watch my moves. But no, it's been up and down because there's a lot of garbage everywhere, from this infestation. It hasn't been easy, and there's a lot of interference with that.
Right. You just
But
jump back in it.
I'm confident that we're pushing through it. We're at the end part, as I've been told.
This is the big push, right? It's what everybody's been waiting for. All right. So there's a scene in 300. For those of you that haven't seen it, 300 men fought up like 10,000 men or something. And they huddle together and form a line. And they link up with their shields. And everybody runs at them. And they funnel down a small path at the 300 men. And the 300 men ground themselves, lock into each other's shields. They take the hit, and it pushes them back like 2 feet. And you see everybody slide back, and you hear the, oh, and everyone slides back. And then they go, you ready? Go. And they step forward, and push. And they push back the entire crowd. A massive, it's so much bigger, right? And it was like nothing for the Spartans to do this. Right? So, and I'm thinking like 300 men, just like 1,000 guys jumped on them and they pushed them off, literally, by just getting together and doing it. Now, imagine what we can do consciously if we link up on our grid and just decide not to take it anymore. And just say, no, you know what? All the distractions, it's a wrap. Everything's over. And you decide to pour that energy out properly. Teamwork style. Boom. Bring it out. You throw everything back. So that final push. My coach used to say, never score the touchdown. Take the ball and run out of the stadium. Like I don't want you to stop after the line. You keep running. Right? Like you can't give up at the line. You have to push through the touchdown. So you not only are you catching the touchdown, you're moving through it as hard as you can, all the way to the back end, and then you'll run through the bleachers if you have to. It's like when you hit a board with your hand, you don't think about punching the board, you think about punching through the board. Right? And then you win on the energetic signature, and boom, it shatters. Your hand goes through the whole thing. There's a give and take with that, with percentages and densities of walls, but you get the picture. This is the big last push. You wanted it, you got it. So why give up now? Now is when you pour all into it. Right? Saving the world doesn't mean taking to the streets and attacking anything. It means voting with your dollar. It means learning how to say thank you, no thank you, like a lot. Thank you, but no thank you. Right? And also, without permission needed, doing whatever it is you need to do for you without hurting anyone else. It's not Mad Max. It's not that. But you got to start thinking out of the box now. The world is about to change. Okay? It's not a bad place. It just got corrupted a little bit. You got to clean up your part. And yeah, there's a lot of people that aren't going to clean up. But remember, 300 men fought off 10,000. And that they're fist fighting and sword chopping and shields and spears. This is a consciousness battle. This isn't a weapon. Like when your consciousness takes the field, and tell me if I'm wrong, Jim, it's automatically over for the other team because
Absolutely.
it suggests that they have an actual opportunity of winning. Right? But they don't. Uncaged, raw consciousness. You lose.
Absolutely. I mean, you think about the way these things work. They work in packs. So that should tell you something. One-on-one, they don't even bother because they know it's a wrap. So they have to huddle up in groups, legions, whatever you like to call them, and that's how they operate. And even then they're short. So that should tell you something of how powerful we really are. But a lot of us are probably don't know or are afraid to step up to your power. Step up to the plate and be like, look, this is who I am, rather than I think I'm this and it doesn't work,
Absolutely. Right? Don't be afraid. Step up into your power. Take your place. Like the return of Atlantis is a beautiful concept if we don't screw this up again.
Oh yeah.
Right? Because the original programming, the original overlay of the system then was that of the creator being like, we're going to get it all back. Right? It's like the body and soul merge as one. You could believe what you want, but it always comes out to like this pinpointed thing where you become one and you rise within yourself. Remember that word, within yourself. That's how you do it. You go inside and it shines outwardly, and then it just starts to happen. The enlightened ones are those who go for it. It's not anyone more special than you. It's the ones that are like, no, we have to do this because this is better than this by a lot. You want manifestation? Start doing it. You wanted to learn how to meditate? Now's the time. Clean and clear, clean and clear. Remember that. We have everything in place around us. Everyone's where they're supposed to be, but you'll feel yourself at a loss. You'll be like, oh, I'm losing my friends. I'm losing my family. I don't feel like I belong at work, or maybe I lost my job, or this, because you're not. You don't belong there. Some families are just sperm donors and egg donors to get you here, to raise you. They made a contract and took care of you to do X, Y, and Z. And then you're like, what? Like me and my dad. I'm the greatest guy in the world. My dad thinks I'm the devil. He literally thinks I'm the devil. Literally. He's like, you are a demon devil. And I'm like, how am I the devil in any way? And you can see it in his eyes. Like, he's like, oh, you're the devil. The program's got him so wrapped. And I'm like, dude, I love you. What's wrong with you? Oh, demon devil, die. Oh, die, demon devil. Great. So sperm donor. Meet Rob, the sperm donor. That's how I look at it, right? Like, his agreement was up when he had to kick me out, I guess. But I was already out for 20 years. But see, this is where it goes. I'm just showing you. It's as an example. You're going to find your family, your soul connections. It's all there. You're not just going to shut off a machine and wake up in a pod. Although you could do that if that's what you're here to do. Because you can do that, and that's what's happening on a bigger level. But on a smaller level, you're trapped in the illusion. Right? We're going to drop the holographic overlays of the illusion to the real version of you. But you have to do that. Don't wait. I can't do it for you. Because you listen to FearLess doesn't mean that you ascend or anything. Or ascension, by the way, is an internal thing. It's not an external thing. It's an internal thing that will happen and manifest externally after you internally go through it. Can't really explain it better than that. Everyone's got their own vision of it and everything. But it's all there. It's all real. All right. We got 1 minute left. Jim, you want to throw a shout out or two?
Yeah, I'd like to send a shout out to the FearLess family. And I want to say Ala Sanchez, Crystal Lee, for the great support. Shauna, thank you very much. And Julie Hill, thank you. I love you. Thank you for everything. You guys been great with the support this week.
Yes, thank you. Absolutely. Yeah, I want to do a shout out and thank all the FearLess family and everybody that's tuned in tonight.
Sometimes I feel like I'm running down the sands of time. Another drink of ayahuasca just to free my mind. I hope to find another day what I've lost before. I'm trying to find my second wind so I can win some more.